Precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Good morning, this is the Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. I said I was dreading the day that I had to come and do this show when my team has lost. That happened this weekend, but we will get into Manchester United's win over Chelsea a little bit later on in the show. We are building up to talkSPORT Breakfast at 6 a.m. with Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist on the way over the next hour. We are going to be looking back on that Super Sunday. Arsenal salvaged a late equaliser. But was that enough? Are Liverpool the real winners? It was the perfect result for them in that game and the Merseyside derby, 5 out of 5. And they've already got a 5-point lead at the top. They haven't even been playing that well, and they've got a 5-point lead at the top after 5 games. Manchester United got the better of Chelsea at Old Trafford. Is it a turning point for United, or is that win papering over the cracks for Ruben Amorim? And another win for Crystal Palace. No one's talking about this. They're 17 games unbeaten, which stretches back to the back end of last season. They've played some big teams. They've got some huge results. And that is another result that leaves West Ham boss Graham Potter under a lot of pressure. As always, you can get involved on the usual number 03717 223344. Right, let's get into it, shall we? I was actually at Arsenal Manchester City yesterday. I went to the Emirates to watch, on my days off. I like spending it watching football, and I thought, big game, why not go and watch it? And it was really funny. I noticed, I've never noticed this before at the Emirates. Maybe it's because I was sat sort of like on the halfway line, a little bit like higher up so I could see. But there's like a section of Arsenal fans that all dress in black and have like a drum, and it's almost like they're trying to create like this like ultras atmosphere, and it really doesn't work. We were sat there watching them like a lot of the game thinking, are they gonna like, and they tried, bless them, but like when it was 1-0 down with about, I don't know, half an hour to go, we were looking at them going, nah. the drum stopped drumming, and it was just I would love to know what the idea is there and why they dress in black. Do Palace do it? because I feel like I've seen that at Palace, and I was like, oh, maybe they're trying to be Crystal Palace, because we know what the atmosphere is like at Selhurst Park, and it is absolutely brilliant. Wasn't quite the same at the Emirates, I can't lie. But yeah, a big result for Liverpool in that game. It was another brilliant weekend of Premier League football, wasn't it? And it did culminate in that 1-1 draw at the Emirates between Arsenal and Manchester City. And here's how the weekend sounded right here on talkSPORT.
In towards the right, Ekatike through the legs of the goalkeeper, and he scores. Of course he does. Liverpool beat Everton at Anfield for the 5th time in a row.
West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2, and wow, what a goal from Tyreek Mitchell.
In driving rain at Turf Moor, Burnley 1, Forest 1.
It's Wolves 1, Leeds 3. Remember, Wolves were ahead early in this game, but Leeds have been running riot since then.
Brighton 2, Tottenham 2.
It is a red card, and it's gone to Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. 10v10 now. Manchester United 2, Chelsea 0. It's finished at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1.
And it's a looping header, an own goal by Pinnock. Fulham 3, Brentford 1.
They finished Sunderland 1, Aston Villa 1.
Sometimes Mikel Arteta is right. The finishers have come on to change the game. Alex Crook. Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. What a ball. I think it was Eberici Eze picking out the run of Gabriel Martinelli. His first touch to get away from Guardiola's exquisite. His second to lift the ball over the advancing Donnarumma and into the net is absolutely sensational.
Should we start at the Emirates then? Because it was the game that finished off the Premier League weekend. Wasn't the greatest game, was it? I feel like Manchester City-Arsenal games are just getting more and more boring at the moment. But Gabriel Martinelli salvaged a late point for the Gunners. He came off the bench to score in the 93rd minute after Erling Haaland gave City the lead. That's already his 7th goal of the season. I feel like he's on a different level this season, the City striker. City entered the game with 32.8% possession. That blew my mind. It's the lowest figure that any Pep Guardiola side has ever recorded in the top flight. After the game at talkSPORT's Alex Crook spoke to the Arsenal boss on the game, Mikel Arteta.
Well, regardless of the result, I would have said the same thing. I'm extremely proud of the players and the team. I think the manner that we played and dominated this game against this Manchester City, from my side as a coach, requires a big compliment to the team. And after that, I'm very disappointed with the result. It's true that, as you said, scoring at the end, it gives you a bit of emotion, a bit of a taste. But I think the first result for me was for Arsenal to win the game.
Do you take it as a mark of respect for your team that was quite a different Manchester City performance than we've become used to? And at the end of the game, they had 4 centre-backs, they had no striker. What did you make of that?
I don't know. That's a question for them to understand why they did it. But certainly they did it because they believe it was the best way to win the game.
And you mentioned the finishers. Obviously, they played a part in Bilbao in midweek. It happened again today. Is that squad depth going to be really important over the course of the season?
Very important. They are very long matches when you see the level and the physical demands and how much detail there is in these games. You're going to need to change it and adapt the game, and I'm very happy with what the players done again.
Can I ask you a quick one on Victor Gyökeres? Because it was an afternoon when he didn't get a lot of service, but his hold-up play was good. He was dropping back to link up the players well. Were you pleased overall with him?
Yeah, he did a lot of good things. I think he was very unfortunate in 2 situations. We were just in front of goal, and the ball doesn't hit him for millimetres. But I think he had a very strong performance today.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're ever playing against Manchester City, you would probably say a point is a good result. However, Jamie Carragher said on Sky that, you know, Arsenal wasted 45 minutes. And I do tend to agree, because if you've looked at City this season, I know they obviously beat Napoli and that was a good result, although Napoli were down to 10 men. But this City team can be got at. And I just feel like we're sat here saying the same things about Arsenal in the big games. Marino, Zubamendi and Rice was the midfield 3. But at home against City, do you need to play those 3 players? Because it literally, at half-time, when Mikel Arteta brought on Bukayo Saka, Fernando Madueke, and then brought on Abere Eze for Mikel Merino, they just looked so much better. They had that creativity, they had that spark, and they had all of the ball. Gianluigi Donnarumma had to make a couple of really big saves as well, but it was just like an onslaught from Arsenal in that second half, and it did just feel like it was probably a matter of time before they got the equaliser. But it just feels like, that first 45 was it. I just want to see Arsenal be a little bit more brave in the big games. I want to see them go for it, especially when you're the home side, and back your team to go and beat this Pep Guardiola side, because we know then still not the City that we the City that won the 4 Premier Leagues in a row. They're not the City that won the treble. I just want to see them. And, Mikel Arteta after the game, someone asked him about the midfield in the press conference and said, well, no one asked me about the midfield against Bilbao. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're away in the Champions League in your first game against a very good side. I sort of understand going those 3 in that game, but I really, really, really don't understand. And then when Eze came on in the 10, which I have been crying out for, because I just think out of all of Arsenal's options, I think Eze is the best in that number 10. I do not think there is anyone better than him to play in that position. And they just looked so much better. But yeah, I suppose a boost for Arsenal getting that equaliser in the last minute. But what about City then? Because Pep Guardiola also spoke to Alex Crook after the game and was asked how much of a kick in the teeth that late equaliser was.
The last season we equalised in the last moment Etihad, and they equalised here. It's football. It's 97 minutes or 98. But there's always a fair. In Brazil and strong. Have been a really tough week for us in terms of opponents, and Thursday, Sunday travel to London always is demanding, I would say, and the opponent is really, really good. So, and the result is fair.
Yeah, I'd probably say, I agree with Pep Guardiola. A draw was probably the fair result. But City did defend well. I mean, like we said, 32.8% possession, the lowest any Pep Guardiola team has ever recorded in the top flight. And Mikel Arteta's Arsenal did that to him. I mean, I was quite surprised, I'm not going to lie, with the substitutions that Pep Guardiola has made in that game. We're just so not used to seeing that from a Pep Guardiola side. He took off Foden, brought on Ake, bought off Haaland for Nico Gonzalez. I mean, I did actually laugh because the two teams ended the game with, there was 8 centre-backs on the pitch. You had Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori who's centre-back, Ake, Stones, Gvardiol, Diaz and Mosquera. Then we finished, we could almost make a first 11 with centre-backs on the pitch, which I just thought was crazy, because I thought even when I was quite surprised when Mosquera came on. Obviously Mikel Arteta's subs were very, very attacking because they needed to go for it. There was no other option. But to end the game, a Pep Guardiola side and a Mikel Arteta side ending the game with 8 centre-backs on the pitch, I just thought was hilarious. But City's defence, I think for large parts of it, obviously did defend well. I thought Gianluigi Donnarumma, I mean, when you've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world on the market, how not many other teams were coming in for him just blows my mind, and he will make such a difference to that side yesterday. I mean, it was a brilliant finish. We haven't even spoken about the finish from Gabriel Martinelli. There was nothing that Donnarumma or the City defence could have done about that. It was a beautiful ball by Eze. And a really, really, really good finish. For Martinelli, obviously starting on the bench, probably not happy with that, but he came on, did it against Bilbao, and he's done the same in such a big moment. So he was impressive, but let's stick with Arsenal, because on the final word phone-in, Troy Deeney questioned the impact, or lack of, from Victor Gyökeres.
I understand the manager has to give the striker confidence, but he just described Gyökeres as having a strong performance today. What? You know when Ten Hag was at Man United and he used to just lie to us that it's a good performance? Like we watched the game, we seen it. Again, as an ex-striker, I'm always going to look towards what the strikers do. How can you say he had a strong performance?
I love it. I mean, managers still lie to us, don't they? Managers lie to us all the time. I didn't think that... when I watched that Arsenal performance, I didn't pick out Gyökeres and think he had a bad game. I thought he had an okay game. I thought there were players that had a better game than him, and there were players that had a worse game than him. But George, the Arsenal fan, spun the criticism back towards Mikel Arteta.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to criticise Arteta. It's not fair. And like Troy said, he's done brilliant for us. Let's face it. But at the moment, you know the way I see him? I see him as a Formula 3 driver in a Formula 1 car.
Oh.
He just doesn't know how to control the car, does he? He's got so much talent there, and he just doesn't know how to pick a team. I mean, look, great coach. I'm not going to knock him. I think it's unfair. Anyone who knocks Arteta, I think is unfair because he's taken us up to where he can take us. But I don't know. Like you said earlier, he's got a little bit of Gareth Southgate.
George, the Arsenal fan there, saying, I'm not going to criticise him, but then going on to criticise him is actually quite funny. But Arsenal fans, I would actually love to hear from you, because George there thinks that Mikel Arteta has taken Arsenal as far as he can, as far as Arsenal can go. Do you genuinely still believe that Mikel Arteta is the man to get Arsenal over the line? And I'm not talking a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. I'm talking the Premier League, because actually, I think Liverpool, I mean, that result yesterday was perfect for Liverpool, really. That's what they would have wanted. I think, to be honest, I can't really see anything else than Liverpool walking away with it now, just because they're 5 points clear already, haven't even been playing very well at all. So they're going to click at some point. Alexander Isak is going to be fit. But I think Liverpool probably have the best team. If I'm looking at the first 11 in the Premier League, I'd probably go Liverpool. But squad-wise, I'm going Arsenal. Like, to have the luxury of bringing, you know, Ebere Eze, Bukayo Saka off the bench yesterday, I think I look at Arsenal's squad and I think they are best equipped in terms of squad size and players and depth to actually make a real impact in either the Premier League or the Champions League. But are you going to do it under Mikel Arteta? Arsenal fans, do you genuinely believe that? 03717 223344 is the number to call. Elsewhere yesterday, Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0. The Cherries up to 4th in the Premier League. They've only lost one game, and that was to Liverpool on the opening day. The job that Andoni Iraola has done has just been brilliant. And Aston Villa finally scored a Premier League goal. Matty Cash getting that, but it was only enough for a draw after Sunderland equalised late on. They went down to 10 men after half an hour. Villa still yet to win. Just them and Wolves are the two teams without 3 points. In the Premier League, you'll hear from a very frustrated Unai Emery after the break. This is Early Breakfast on talkSPORT with me, Olivia Buzaglo, and Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. You can find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Happy Monday. I'm Olivia Buzaglo, and this is the Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. How about this? Jeff Selling is back on breakfast this morning. Alongside him is Super Ali McCoist. And this is actually quite funny because my boyfriend's dad, I saw him the other day and he was like, oh, how's Talk Chelsea going? So he basically just says all I do is talk about Chelsea on here. But don't worry, because I will be having my rant about Chelsea after they lost to Man United at Old Trafford. Great. In half an hour's time, so you're not going to want to miss that. Right, some of your headlines you're waking up to this Monday morning. Oxford United recorded a much-needed first 3 points of the Championship season. Shocking third-place Bristol City 3-1 at Ashton Gate. Middlesbrough still leading the way after 5 Premier League games. But Sheffield United, oh no, not even the returning Chris Wilder could stop them losing a 6th straight game. It was a last-minute winner as well, that would have hurt. McLaren's Lando Norris reduced teammate Oscar Piastri's championship lead to 25 points by finishing 7th in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix after the Australian crashed out on the first lap. Red Bull's Max Verstappen took a dominant victory, but is still 69 points behind Piastri with 7 races to go. And Aston Villa couldn't quite do enough to beat 10-man Sunderland despite going ahead early in the second half through a long-range Matty Cash strike. Wilson Isidore equalised with around 15 minutes to play, and after the game, Unai Emery didn't hold back on their poor start.
We were not playing with our style. We lost a little bit our identity and how we want to build a team, how we want to create our structure strong, tactically, individually, feeling confidence, and we were winning 1-0, we were dominating a bit more, but we were conceding a lot of them, long ball, second action, throw-in, corners, they had as well chances. And when they score and they draw, of course, it was the same for me because the result is one way. Of course, it's very important to try to achieve points, and we are under our expectation. But if we are not improving as a team how we want to play, it's getting more difficult. And today, it was again something I am not feeling good. I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm not feeling confidence. But of course, I was speaking yesterday. I was happy how we played Everton, how we played Brentford. But today we played under the performance we got there.
Yeah, that was Unai Emery talking after Aston Villa's 1-1 draw with Sunderland. That's the first time I've heard him sort of speak like that, I think. Calling his team lazy. At the back of the Daily Mail, it's on the back of most of the papers, to be honest. Emery blasts lazy Villa stars after a late blow at Sunderland. He's questioned their attitude in that game. It just feels like they haven't quite recovered from missing out on Champions League. And I know they missed out in a pretty bad way. It was a refereeing decision at Old Trafford, wasn't it? That probably should have stood, didn't. And that they then would have probably got Champions League. I just don't quite know what is going wrong. It's like largely the same team that Aston Villa have, but like they barely even create chances from what I've watched this season. It's not like they're just creating loads and scoring loads. They're not, but fair play to Sunderland. I mean, they spent an hour with 10 men after Ronaldo got sent off. And they come back, and Wilson Isidore, 3rd goal in 6 Premier League games. I mean, he usually comes off the bench and scores, but he started in that game. And I feel like I need to already put out an apology to the promoted sides, because I looked at Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland and just thought, because the gap is so big, that those 3 that came up were probably going to go down, but they have had brilliant starts to the season. So fair play to those promoted sides. Right, for more on all these stories, you can visit talksport.com. Right now, time now to get into the back pages with Adrian Flux.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk.
Right, talkSPORT's Extra Time's Kane Reeves is with me in the studio. Thanks for joining me this morning,
mate. How are we?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you very much. Lots of reaction, of course, to yesterday's games on the back pages. But I wanted to focus on Saturday's results, especially because of West Ham. And I feel bad. I've been going on at Paul all evening about how bad West Ham are. But the Sun going with a story that Alex Crook broke on talkSPORT last week about Nuno Espirito Santo being open to a swift return to West Ham. We believe they've already spoken to Nuno. And there are other names on the list, including Slaven Bilic.
Return.
Which would
Slaven Bilic.
it just sounds like a bizarre appointment. That sounds like an interim appointment, doesn't it? But there are 33 games left, so I can't see West Ham go for an interim boss.
Well, yeah, but apparently Sullivan's first choice is Bilic over. But I mean, I know we shouldn't be talking about, you know, he hasn't gone yet, Graham Potter, but he obviously is under a lot of pressure. But I look at Nuno and think the best manager on the market right now for the job that look what he did with Forest.
Yes,
that's what West Ham need.
We hear the West Ham way.
The West Ham.
It is Nuno's football the West Ham way.
I don't think they'll care.
I don't think they have a way at the moment.
No, yeah.
Especially under Graham Potter. And you can tell when a manager is really starting to feel the heat when he starts to get a little bit tetchy with the reporters. Here is Graham Potter on Saturday speaking to Ian Abrahams, the Mighty Moose.
Do you still think you're the right man for the job?
Yes.
Even though we've had a poor start to the season?
Yes.
Fair enough. Can I ask you about the couple of team selections? No, I mean, listen, I asked the question, you answered it, fair enough. Callum Wilson up front, and then you brought Fulcrook on for the second half. Was there ever a temptation to play both of them together?
No.
Sorry, Moose saying, fair enough. It was hilarious.
I quite like that interview style as well, and Graham Potter giving answers, straight to the point, no messing around, none of those football cliches.
No, as an interviewer myself, there is nothing worse than that. Like when the manager's just giving like a one-word answer, you're just like,
do you
cool.
prefer that, or if they were angry?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't neither, to be honest, Kane. I would.
Roy Hodgson used to be quite fierce.
Yeah.
Off camera to the interviewers.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, that is so funny.
Graham Potter. That was an interesting chat, and more on the Sun on page 48, and also on the talkSPORT website. And then another manager feeling the pressure, Unai Emery, and his comments in his press conference were quite astonishing. He described the Villa defence as lazy.
I was just saying, I don't think I've ever heard him speak like that, even when like Villa have been in a poor run of form. Obviously, they have started the season pretty poorly by their own standards, but that's the first time I've actually felt he's come out and just let sort of loose and just gone and basically like blaming his players for not running and not showing enough fight and not showing enough spirit and questioning their attitude.
Well, it was bizarre though, because there was a moment of 30 seconds before the end he went down the tunnel and he was very frustrated with Villa not getting the ball in the box, which also that's not Emery's style anyway.
No.
So he left before the full-time whistle. Then in his press conference he says, I told them the same thing I'm telling you. We have to look at our identity. I'm frustrated and disappointed at how we played, how we are not playing, feeling comfortable with our style. We have to try to recover our personality in duels as well as our confidence. Then as well, we were lazy in defence. Really lazy. For example, when we concede, we were lazy. So he was emphasising that he thought his defenders were lazy. There we go. It's a bizarre situation at Aston Villa at the moment. I wonder if the failed move to Arsenal for Ollie Watkins in January is maybe lingering in his mind, because there were a few opportunities he missed. There was one ball into the box, a great cross from Jadon Sancho, and he made no contact at all on it. And that's not the Ollie Watkins we know, is it? Not the Ollie Watkins we're expecting to be challenging Harry Kane for a place at the World Cup. And also on the back pages of the Daily Mail and the Star, Luke Shaw talking about criticism by Roy Keane. Roy Keane he's been fierce on Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw seems to be singled out quite a lot, and I think maybe that's because he's been there the longest now, isn't he? He was there was it Louis van Gaal who signed him? So
actually,
and he says that Roy Keane is right to slag him off. So I don't really know what Luke Shaw's trying to achieve by sort of
by coming
sucking
out
up to Roy Keane. Really,
it's not going to do any good, to be perfectly honest.
He says, "I know the performances haven't been good," and he says,
so you're talking
I know
on
myself."
The pitch.
Yeah. Do you think that was a turning point for United or not? No, it wasn't.
No. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later on, sadly. We have to. Kane, thanks so much. Right, this is Early Breakfast on talkSPORT. Up next, we'll review the 247th Merseyside derby.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were absolutely sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money, but instead of entering league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. Think of it like the Harlem Globetrotters of football, and it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil, and the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest clubs in Brazil.
Happy Monday. This is Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love. With Wattbands, Insurer of the Year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. I'm Olivia Buzaglo, taking you through until 6 a.m. and then you're in the very capable hands of Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoy for talkSPORT Breakfast. Some of the headlines you're waking up to this Monday morning. Mikel Arteta has confirmed that Noni Madueke picked up an injury during Arsenal's 1-1 draw with Manchester City. Madueke was taken off at half-time for Bukayo Saka, who returned from injury after 3 games out. Marcus Rashford was left out of Barcelona's starting lineup against Getafe after arriving late to a pre-match meeting. That's despite his match-winning performance against Newcastle in the Champions League on Thursday. Barca won the game against Getafe 3-0. And some awful news in the world of women's football this weekend. Former Liverpool manager Matt Beard has died at the age of 47. Beard led Liverpool to back-to-back WSL titles in 2013 and 2014, returning for a second spell at the club back in 2021. Weekend Breakfast host Shabana Hearn paid a touching tribute to Beard yesterday.
6 years ago, my sister was at a really low point with football. And Matt Beard gave her the opportunity to come and train with her at West Ham. And she came to the club. And he said, we'll put you in the shop window. You know, she'd known him for a long, long time. And he said, I'll do my best to help you. And he gave her a place at West Ham. And then from there, she got a contract at Birmingham. And then she went to Villa. And yesterday, she signed for Crystal Palace. And as soon as she texted me saying, that's me signed, I thought of Matt Beard. I thought of that moment of her upset and reaching out to him and him saying, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And she is not the only one who's been helped by this man. He helped so many people, you know, in women's football. And I think maybe he was the guy who helped everyone, maybe not helping himself, you know.
Oh, God, that's so tough to listen to, but a lovely tribute from Shabana Hearn there. And I've just seen so many beautiful tributes on social media, which, like Shaban has said, I think summed up the person that Matt Beard was, would so often help other people before himself. And, it's just such sad news. And our thoughts go out to the friends and family of Matt Beard, who sadly passed away over the weekend, aged just 47. Right now, on to Saturday. Liverpool and Everton met for the 247th time. It was live and exclusive on talkSPORT. First half goals from Ryan Gravenberch and Hugo Ekitike were enough, despite a strong second half showing from Everton. Again, I said this earlier, I just don't feel like Liverpool are even playing that well, but they seem to be getting over the line. I said earlier, their first team's good. I mean, at the moment, they have got that depth as well. Obviously, you look at Alexander Isak coming off the bench. You look at Florian Wirtz, who hasn't quite started the season as well as probably he would have hoped. But obviously, we know how tough it is coming over to a new league. But yeah, Liverpool 5 from 5, 5 points clear at the top. That Arsenal City result was perfect for them yesterday. And Arne Slot maintained to talkSPORT after the game that I suppose the Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak problem on who to start is a nice problem to have.
It's totally not difficult because I know how much focus there is on the players we've brought in, but at this moment of time both of them are, I think, almost happy that there is another one because they're both not ready to play three times 90 minutes. That's also why I made the lineup as I did, because Dominic Szoboszlai played twice already, Ryan Gravenberch played twice already, but these players are used at this intensity in this league to play 3 times 90, and for Hugo, for Florian, that's different. And Alex, of course, is used to it as well, but he comes from 4 months without proper sessions.
Yeah, that was Arne Slot there speaking. I mean, it's a lovely problem to have, isn't it? Alexander Isak or Hugo Ekitike. And I don't think, Hugo Ekitike has started the season so brilliantly for Liverpool that actually I think I wonder what's going to happen when they are both fit and both of them can potentially start 3 games in a week. I don't actually think they will. I don't think there is a world in which one of these, obviously you spend 120 million on like Alexander Isak. If he is fit and can play 2 games in a week, he probably will. But with his injury issues, I'm just not sure. I think Arne Slot is probably going to rotate both of them across the season. One of them will play in the Premier League, one of them will play in the Champions League, and then they'll swap. And it's not fair. It's not fair having 2 strikers that good. I mean, obviously, Alexander Isak yet to score his first Liverpool goal, but I mean, we all know the quality of Alexander Isak. Okay, let's move on because I suppose, Liverpool haven't lost a game. They are unbeaten this season. They've won 5 out of 5, but Another team that are unbeaten are Crystal Palace. And they're not just unbeaten this season, they are unbeaten in 17 games across all competitions, stretching back to the back end of last season. Honestly, I cannot believe people aren't talking about this more. If any team had gone 17 unbeaten, I feel like it would be such a talking point. And it's not like they've played, they've played some big games. They beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final. They drew with Liverpool in the league. They then beat them in the Community Shield. They drew with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Oliver Glasner has got them so well drilled. They are a brilliant side. They've still got Mark Gahey, which was obviously the transfer deadline day drama that meant he was staying at the club. And it probably means he'll either go in January or he'll go on a free next summer. But I think because foreign clubs have the ability to negotiate like a pre-contract agreement in January, that probably may mean that he's less likely now to go to someone like Liverpool. And I do feel like Liverpool still do need a centre-back. I think they do. And we don't know what's going to happen with Ibrahim Konate. But I suppose now Mark Gahey has the pick of the bunch because he's been so brilliant. I mean, sorry, that finish from Tyrick Mitchell, where on earth did that come from? I mean, Jean-Philippe Mateta scoring again, but that's just obviously piled the pressure on Graham Potter. We spoke about him a little bit earlier. Losing 2-1 at home. Is Nuno Espirito Santo the answer for West Ham? Do West Ham fans want him? But that was obviously a brilliant result for Crystal Palace. And I think that's perfect timing because it is time for the front pages once he sticks his microphone in with Kane.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front pages first on the early sports breakfast.
talkSPORT.
I said microphone, I meant headphones. But he's plugged his headphones in and he is here.
It's quite slim pickings, if I'm honest.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Who would have thought that the news would be quite sad and depressing on the front pages? I'm clinging on to the fact that Harry Styles has completed a marathon in Berlin.
Oh!
That's the best bit of news I've got so far. But this has caused a bit of debate in the office. Apparently, 3 hours is almost elite amateur.
I was going to say, isn't that like unbelievable for a marathon?
Which has got me... look, I'm not...
Are you saying Harry Styles is a liar?
Harry Styles has very expensive lawyers, and I certainly wouldn't suggest that whatsoever. Very talented man. He apparently completed the Berlin Marathon in under 3 hours, that's 26 miles. That's quite impressive.
That's insane. Have you done a marathon?
No.
Would you ever?
Anything
I don't think you could even pay me to do a marathon.
I just don't get it.
No, I don't. Why would anyone
also
want to run?
Isn't running on the concrete? Don't that just do your knees in?
Yeah. I don't. Is there anything fun about it? I'm not sure there is.
I like the guy who did the London Marathon where he stopped at every pub and had like a glass of wine.
Was he not absolutely battered by the time he finished?
That's the only way.
That's the way to do it, isn't it?
Talking of being battered, drinkers now prefer to queue at a bar than push in. So have you seen that this is annoying quite a few people on social media? People always take a picture of a queue going backwards in a bar rather than standing at the bar.
Yeah.
And apparently now this is the new way of doing it. Gen Zers, I hate using that, but that is what the papers have now branded anyone between the ages of 18 to 24, so that they don't actually like barging in and getting into the queue. They prefer to actually queue in line politely.
Nah,
not at all.
No.
I like being in there, getting in the middle,
like making your body like
making the contact, and then when someone gets served before you, just to make them know I was here before you. Just so
I'm the sort of person that wouldn't say anything. I'm the sort of person that would I would just be like,
stand your ground.
I'll be like, yeah, fine. Whatever.
And also, don't order on an app. That annoys me.
Oh, I do that.
Why? Go to the bar.
I don't have to get up.
Go to the bar.
Okay, but what if
the whole point of going to a pub is to be social?
Okay, hold on a second. I went to a bar the other day. I mean, I went on my own because I'm... What was that?
No, carry on.
I was in Manchester for work, and like the one person I know in Manchester was working.
Okay.
So Bayern were playing Chelsea in the Champions League, and I'd just been working, so I was like, do you know what? I want to watch it.
You don't need to justify this.
No, well, you just laughed at me, Kane, so I feel like I do need to justify
I drink on
myself.
my own all the time.
You just laughed at me when I said I went to the bar by myself. But anyway, my point was that I couldn't order drinks I ordered food to my table, couldn't order drinks. It took me about 25 minutes. I missed both of. We were 0-0. I got back to my seat and Chelsea were 2-0 down.
Oh.
And I was like, what's happened here?
Well, if you would have maybe...
I think ordering on an app
Or
is fine.
barred your way to the front of the queue and you would have got
could have
served.
done that. I'm
Not
quite little as well. I could try and wiggle my way in somewhere.
I had a nightmare. Last weekend, Saints Pompey game, we were queuing at the bar, 9 a.m. when they started serving. We were there for about 15 minutes, finally got my 2 pints. I turned around, slipped and dropped both drinks. It was so embarrassing.
That's hilarious.
Dropped a Guinness and a Carlsberg. But
as if you just laughed at me for queuing in a bar of my own when you did that.
The guy behind me, he just looked at me with such sort of pity and went, just go again.
I was going to say, I would let you back in.
And then I went to the stadium and dropped my pint outside there as well. 3 beers I wasted.
Are you all right?
I don't know what. I think it was the nerves and everything ahead of Derby Day. But and elsewhere, and that's all I've really got, mate. Everything else is really boring in the front page.
No, that was quite good. I like that.
I'd rather be honest to the listeners than lie to them.
Exactly. No one likes a liar, do they, Kane?
Exactly.
No.
What are you doing for the rest of the day? We got time to kill?
I'm actually... We do, because I've got to talk about Chelsea after the break, which I really don't want to do. I'm actually going to go home and just chill today. I might watch the Matchroom documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that looks quite cool.
Yeah,
Eddie Hearn ordering Monster Munch.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about it yet, but I've heard it's quite good, so I might watch that. What about you?
I'd probably go to the pub on my own, to be honest.
Probably go to the pub on your own and probably drop 5 pints in the process. Thank you very much, Kane. Always a pleasure. Up next, we're going to be talking, sadly, Chelsea after they lost 2-1 to Manchester United in the Premier League. You're listening to Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with me, Olivia Buzaglo. me smile. Even though we lost, just hearing that song makes me smile. I mean, it was absolute chaos at Old Trafford on Saturday evening, wasn't it? It was one of the most bizarre games of the season so far. Man United coming away with a 2-1 win. But obviously the big talking point was Robert Sanchez getting sent off after just 4 minutes. And Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca reacted to that by replacing not just one attacking player, but two. He obviously took off Estevao and Pedro Neto initially, and then, a short while later, then took off Cole Palmer. Just first of all, here is Enzo Maresca on why he made those decisions.
We decided to change something tactically after the red card and the goal we conceded. And then Cole change was just because he was not 100% fit. He made the test this morning to try and play this game. So the effort from him was unbelievable, just to say, with the team and playing this game. And then he started to feel something.
Right. I have a few questions. The first substitution he made, I sort of agreed with. You've got to take off someone. You're probably going to take off Estevao. He's young, he's inexperienced. And that was a sub I could get on board with. However, I got so confused, and I still am so confused, on taking off Pedro Neto. I think that when you're down to 10 men, he is probably, out of all of the Chelsea players on the pitch in that moment, especially with Cole Palmer being injured, he is the one player you would want on that pitch. He's probably the hardest worker you've got out there. He's also quick, and he's brilliant on the counter-attack. You're not going to have any of the ball. You're going to have very little of it with 10 men. Give yourselves an outlet. João Pedro played so well. Every time he got the ball, there was about 5 players on him, and he couldn't do anything with it. If he'd had Pedro Neto up there, who, by the way, would have gotten up and down because that is what he does. I got so confused, and I still am so confused on that substitution. I'm also confused if Cole Palmer was injured, why not, if you're going to take off 2 attackers, take off Estevao and Cole Palmer? We then wasted another sub taking off Cole Palmer when he was already injured. There was just a lot of things that were really confusing. For United, it was their second win of the season, and that moves them up into the top half. Oh, progress. But after nearly throwing away a 2-0 lead, because obviously Casemiro got sent off bang on half-time, which would have been so frustrating for Ruben Amorim, completely the most pointless and ridiculous red card. But Amorim wants to see more control from his team.
It's not about the great plays or whatever. It's the second ball, it's the first ball. We push a little bit to the opponent to the box. We have the sent-off, help us a lot to calm down. We score 2 goals and then we complicated our life like usually.
What I would say about United is I think they started well. I do think they started the better side even before the red card. I mean, so the first 4 minutes of it. There was a little penalty situation. I've watched it a million times and I cannot tell whether Mazraoui got the ball or whether he fouled João Pedro. I really can't. So I don't really think there was anything in that one. It was just a bit disappointing because when Chelsea went down to 10 men, when United went down to 10 men, it just didn't feel like Chelsea went for it enough. But United, I suppose, it's a win, and that is exactly what they needed. Maybe papers over the cracks slightly for Manchester United, and Ruben Amorim got to see what they do coming up. I suppose it has to be a turning point. They cannot, come through that game, get a big win against a top 6 side, and then go on to lose the next game. So it'll be interesting to see what Ruben Amorim and Manchester United do. Right, there's loads more coming up on talkSPORT Breakfast today. Joining Jeff and Ali, Arsenal fan and content creator Joel Bayer, always in the studio. I'm excited to hear what Joel Bayer has to say on that Arsenal performance. Former Manchester United and Chelsea keeper Mark Bosnich joins the boys from Australia. Big Sam Allardyce, the man Slaven Bilic succeeded at West Ham, will have his say on what's happening at West Ham and the Graham Potter situation. And David Safan Seaman will be looking back on Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. You've been listening to Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux and me, Olivia Buzaglo. Insurance for the individual. You can find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. talkSPORT Breakfast is on the way with Jeff and Ali.